All right, welcome back, Watkins Glen. If you are new to this track, it is a lot of fun to race on. It can be a little crashy. Stay out of the pits. There will be a lot of last lap moves. You may gain some position, so watch out for that. If you are a vet to this track, the Ray wasn't here that long ago. The track had been updated. I think there may be a new update that came about because limits are gone on this track. Almost all the limits are gone on this track. Very, very odd. My paranoid brain says that when this goes to live practice sessions, limits might be back. Um, but they may not be, so I'm not sure. I am going to do the hot lap with no limits. Stay tuned to the end. I will run out the hot lap with no limits, and then I will run out my hot lap staying within limits. It may be that case. So watch out for that when you get into a live practice session. This is the official practice session on the schedule, so I'm just not sure what these limits are going to be. So ride height is 30. No limits or limits. You do have to go over some curbs here. So the ride height is up a little bit. ARB is 0 as usual. Damper compression is 20. Brake bias, not a lot of heavy braking here. Just make sure you're not locking them up. Brake bias is an individual thing. Yours is probably going to be different. Spring rates low as they go, front and rear. Cambers are turned up. This is a this is a very high speed track, not a lot of sharp corners, but a lot of high speed corners. 2.6 on the left, you know my channel, it is asymmetrical. 2.2 on the right, the left is doing a whole lot more work than the right. And go with um, the 2.6 if you want to keep them symmetrical. Toe in 1.4. Um, Tire temps here are getting pretty hot. You could try 1.5, but that may get the tires over the 100-degree mark, which might get them a little bit greasy. 35 low as they go for spring rates in the rear. Camber 1.5 on the left, 1.4 on the right. Again, that's just uh, managing the rear tire temps and wear and all that kind of stuff. Toe in 0.2 on the rear. Again, uh, tire temps are getting pretty hot, so you may not want to have that toe turned up any more than that. Ride height, 40 mils in the rear, little bit of extra ride height on the rear just to increase that rake, just to give the car a little bit more rotation because the ARB is 10. It is turned down a bit from my usual. Again, high speed corners here, very easy to lose the back end. So the ride height is up a little bit just to give that 10 ARB a little bit more rotation, but not too much more. 6 and 18 for the compression in the rear. Now this is interesting. 15 liters. My goodness, 15 liters. Who would have thought? Um, if you are in a race and the leader gets clear and is just running some hot laps, you are going to need 15 liters to get to the end. If the leader is battling, if it's a 2 or 3 or 4 way battle at the front and they're going slow, 14 liters will probably get you to the end. But yeah, boy, this track uses a lot of fuel and very tall. In the previous one, I was using a tall. There was a lot more corners, a lot more acceleration, a lot slower corners, a lot more slower corners. So I found that tall worked best. That was giving me my best lap time. But this one, not so much the slow corners. This is just a whole lot of fast corners for the most part. So very tall is where it is at. All right. So we get into this guide here. We're coming into lap or turn one, looking for the 200 board in fourth gear. Bit of brakes here, down into third. You do have to brake for this corner still, even though there is no limit. And you're hitting the apex, little bit of throttle on there and picking it up nice and early, and then unwinding the wheel. And my God, I shit you not, this is no X. This is no X. No slowdown. This used to be a slowdown. This used to be an X. Good Lord. Use all of the track, I guess. And then just holding it in third gear while you climb up the hill. If you are drafting, you may want to shift up into fourth, but fourth gear is not a whole lot of power going up this steep hill. So I do like to keep it in third, especially if you are on your own. But if you're drafting, again, you got to use your judgment there. So big passing opportunity here. Practice the inside line. You're going to be doing it a lot. Defensive line here, you master that because this track you need it. 300 board, looking for that little, just a whisper of brakes. Fourth gear, shifting down into third, getting onto the cement, not onto the red stuff here, but just onto the cement. You can cut that corner lots. Get onto the corner or get onto the curbs here. Again, you can cut this tremendously and starting to build up the throttle, full throttle before this next one. Very important to be on full throttle here. I didn't mention you can come into this section with more speed, but you are going to be compromised on exit. So if you're going for a pass, yes, you can get in there with carrying more speed, but watch out. You are going to lose it on exit. Getting onto these curbs, full throttle still, and running the car out mid-track. You can hold a tighter line, but it is a little quicker to come out mid-track because you just a little lift and then getting turned in and getting right up against this white line, not so much on the curbs, but onto the white line, and then just picking up the throttle, just a little bit of management as you come around this corner. You don't want to be drifting out wide until you reach the light pole here. Now you can just start drifting out wide, open up the wheel, and again, no limits. Holy moly, look at this. This is crazy. Yeah, third gear. Now this section here, turn one is crazy how much time you're going to gain. This section you're not going to gain so much time. Um, Literally it is in the hundredths, not in the tenths. It is in the hundredths. My fastest time through that section, staying within limits, was almost very little difference, maybe 500ths. So not a big gain there, but just a little bit. Looking for the 200 board, get your tire onto the pavement here over the white line. Open this up as much as possible. Dab of brakes down into third gear and then picking up the throttle nice and early before the apex there. I was a little late on it. And then running the car out wide. Now this is a little bit of a tricky spot. You can get onto these curbs. These are pretty serrated and they are not going to help you go much faster. So really up against them is best. If you get on top of the left hand side, that's all right, but if you get over onto the right, these are very disruptive. If you are on the right, watch how much wheel input you put in trying to get your car over to the left, because these will grab your tires and you are going to say hello to that wall on the left. It will surprise you. It caught me out a few times. So getting over to the left, looking for this advertising sign up here, and then just a little dab of brakes again. Third gear, getting in tight to the white line here, not so much on the curbs, but just right up tight on the white line. Picking up the throttle nice and early before the apex. Running the car out wide again. Serrated curbs here. Staying on the right hand side of these curbs is fine. If you get over onto the left, it is a little disruptive. I find it's not going to make you faster. So just stay on that right hand side of the curbs there. And that is it. If the guy in front of you screwed up that corner, it is a long run to the finish line. You can gain a spot back, so just look out for that. So that is a 118.8. If you stay within the limits, you are going to get, well, I'm not going to get anywhere near that time. So I will run this out at full speed with this lap, and then I will run out a full speed of staying within limits, because turn one is quite a bit different if you are not running way off into the sunset. So good luck out there. We'll see you on track.